So before moving on, I'm going to quickly get us to go back up and into the maps and modes, because there was this little setting I forgot to change there. So can you make sure that your default game mode is set to the game mode that we made earlier, which again is very close to something that's natural here, and it's game mode 1, which is what we've just called it. That'll make sure that you're using the game mode that we've just created now. Once you've done that, once you've got your inputs ready, we can close this window down. Now, just because we have added our controls in doesn't mean that they're going to take effect, or doesn't mean that they're going to change from what basically is already here, because we haven't actually created a character yet. So what I'd like you to do, we'll keep it in our game mode folder, create a new blueprint. So add an import, click blueprint class, and we're going to use the character parent class. So click character. And we're going to call this player character. Once that's created, double click it to open it up. Now, very similarly to before when we started creating our light, we've got our viewport here, but it looks a little bit different. We've got this capsule here with an arrow pointing forward. Now, this is very important for a couple of reasons. Your character is going to always be facing in the direction of this arrow. So when adding anything to your character, such as guns, cameras, lights, anything, it's important that you keep in mind which way you're facing. Now, the first thing we're going to add here is your character's eyes. So if we click on add component, and this time we're actually going to search for just camera. Now there's a couple of options here, so we're just going to click the one that's just simply called camera. And it adds this big bulky camera to our character. Now if you imagine you lived inside this capsule was your personal space. Now your feet would be down here at the bottom of the capsule, and your head would be up here. Now most people I know look through their eyes, not through their stomach. So if we pull our camera up to around about where our head would be, pull it forward a little bit too, so around about where our head and eyes would be. So that means when we actually spawn our character, spawn this very simple capsule, the camera will be a appropriate amount of, or appropriate distance from the floor. So that's simply done. So once your camera is in position, you're ready to start coding this character. So first, I'd like us to go to event graph. Now this is our first real look at some proper nodes, some proper event graph. Firstly, before we get into it, delete these 3 starting nodes. We don't currently need these. To start off, right click anywhere on the event graph, and we're going to type in move forward. And we're going to click on the event here. So this axis event, move forward, is what we created last time, and it's basically our W key. When we click W or S, it calls this little event here. So anytime we press W and S, it'll call any code that comes after this, any code that we create here. In this case, we just want to add movement. So that's what we're going to do. From the right pins here, this top one is always your main pin. So from your main pin, pull a strand. And simply, let's just type in add movement input. So there, we've told it, if the W or S key is pressed, add movement to your character, to this capsule. Now that currently doesn't mean much. Right now we just said add movement, but we haven't given it any information on how much movement. So the first thing, let's pull a strand from our axis value and plug it into our scale value. Now this is going to say, it's going to determine whether we move forward or back currently. So if you press W, it's going to add 1 to our movement. If we press S, it's going to add -1, so forward or backwards. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as that, so Unreal needs us to tell it what direction we need to go in. what part of the world do I need to move towards? This world direction here. Now we can't input any numbers, or we could. If we input any numbers, it'll always go towards that direction. So we need to make this react to wherever we're currently looking. Now we use the camera to look in a certain direction. So from our components up the top here, let's pull a camera into our event graph and put it in. So here's our camera. Now we're going to pull a strand from our camera and we're going to search for get world rotation without any spaces. Get world rotation. And let's attach that node to this here. So our camera, and the program is going to get the rotation of the camera. We're going to pull a strand from the return of that and we're going to say get forward vector. This time we can use spaces. Get forward vector. And then plug that into the world direction. This is coded forward and backwards movement for us. Nice and simple. Now we can add left and right movement very simply to this. So underneath, the same way we done this last time, right click and we're going to say move right, because that's the function name that we created earlier. I'm going to put this underneath, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to copy this node here and pull it down. Plug it in like I did last time. And here we go, our node. Now, the steps that we go through to do this are exactly the same as before, and they use the exact same nodes. Now Unreal is nice in this regard because we don't have to copy and paste those old nodes, we can just use them. Now the forward vector is now important for us, so I'm just going to pull a new strand from the world rotation because it's the same camera we're trying to move. And I can say get right vector, and instead plug this in here. By adding those three nodes, we now have got left and right movement. So before we move on, let's double check this works and let's see how we test this. So click compile and click save, and then just close down your editor. Now if we drag our character into the world, here we go, this is where our character is going to spawn. And I'm going to have to be very careful because it looks like I may have made my world or my door a little bit too small, but we'll find out now. So once our character is in here, in the details, in the properties for this character, can you type in POSS? And the top option here is auto possess player. We've basically just searched for this, and instead of scrolling through it, we've filtered it out. If you click on this and select player 0, the first character in your game will automatically control this character. The first player will automatically control this character. Since this is a single player currently, that'll always be you. So now when I click play, I'm instantly in control of my character. Now I can't turn yet. I haven't coded that, but I should be able to move backwards, forwards, left, and right. So that's working. So I'm going to press escape. So before moving on, make sure that you have tested that your character works and your character can move forward, back, left, and right. If not, go back through this video and double check where you've gone wrong. So I'm going to open up my character again and I'm going to add some code for turning and looking up and down. Now this code is a little bit simpler, or a lot more simple than the code that we've created above. Now let's have a look at, I think we called it look up. We did. Axis event, look up. Now this is nice and easy. We're just going to pull a strand from this and we're going to type in add pitch input. Add the axis value there. Finished. And it's the same thing for turn. Instead of pitch, the opposite of pitch is yaw. So I'm going to type in add yaw, as in Y-A-W, yaw, like you would on a boat or plane. And plug it in. Now there's one thing that's not going to work here, and it's this little looking up aspect here. Let's quickly test it and see if it does work. So I can look left and right, I can move around, but I can't look up and down. I can't do it. I also can't fit through here, so I'm gonna have to make this ceiling a little bit, or the doorway a little bit taller. Now the reason I can't look up and down is because my camera is fixed to my character's body. So when I'm looking left and right, it's not moving my character's head, it's moving the entire body to face this way. Now that doesn't work for looking up and down, because there's only so far you could lean backwards before you fall over, so it won't let you do it. Luckily we can detach the camera from the capsule itself. So if we simply go into the blueprint, click on camera, and we're basically going to type in, or actually no, it's just here, in camera options, use pawn control rotation. So just tick that box, click compile, and now hopefully, there we go, we've got the use of our neck. So now we've got full control, we've got forward, backwards, left. I've fallen off the world, so we can quickly reset that. Forward, backwards, left, right, and we can look around nicely. Only thing we can't do is fit through this, so let's have a quick change of this. Make it a little bit taller. And there we go, we fit in. There's no way I'm going to fit up there. No. So that's the no-go for now. I'll have to change the shape on that. While we're here, I'm actually going to add one more control that we've added in, and that is jumping. So let's find the jump. So input action event here. So on the input section, jump. Nice and easy. Pull a strand off, and we're simply going to type in jump, and it's this function jump here. Jumping is built into Unreal, so it's not something we have to program. It is something we can if we want to make it a little bit more, well, change a couple of things, but naturally if we click on character movement here, we can change the jumping dynamics in here. So things like how fast you jump up can be changed here, your deceleration, the amount of control you've got in the air, anything you want to change about the jump can be changed in there. So we only have to attach to this function. So we're going to compile that and play. And now we're able to control our character nice and simply like this. So before you move on to the next steps, make sure that your character is able to move forward, backwards, left, right, look up, look down, look left and right, and jump. If it's unable to do any of those things, go back through the video and double check you followed all the instructions as the video suggests.